This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast here, and we're going to jump into the week in review as we are now just 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, which is right around the corner. It's now approaching, and we've got a lot of matches that have now been added, confirmed. We have nearly a full card, if I'm correct in saying. I mean, we've got the title matches set. We've got a U.S. title match set. We likely have an idea of the women's tag title scenario, believe it or not, with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. And we have Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, and of course Jade and Bianca. Maybe it's some kind of triple threat, but that I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but probably the likely scenario, of course. And so we've got a lot to talk about this week as we are now in the thick of summer, nearly August. And then once August goes by, it's September, which is the NFL season for those that are interested in such things. And we've don't really talk a whole lot about the NFL here. I mean, there are other topics I'd love to talk about here. I may save that for after dark as we move forward here as things in the world get crazy, and I'll leave it at that. But I may end up doing that. I have to be honest. I am very close to, potentially creating some kind of other show. I don't mean after dark. I mean a separate show altogether. Not abandoning this one, just maybe doing a once a week show on other topics, whether it be other sports, politics, some technology, something along those lines. I have some ideas, but I am kind of toying with that. But nonetheless, you're not here to talk about and hear about my potential future endeavors. It's more about WWE, and I'd like to invite you to take a look at our ad-free stuff that's out there on Patreon that you can get a hold of if you want to check it out for free. We have a 7-day free trial there, as well as on Apple. There's a 7-day free trial there too for ad-free everything. Alrighty, so let's talk about Roman Reigns and when the hell he's coming back. At this point, we're all ready. We are all ready to go. But you knew this week, though, it's kind of that in-between week. You know, you're not closing out the build to SummerSlam. You still got a couple weeks to go. There's still 2 more SmackDowns to go before SummerSlam. You're also, no disrespect to Dayton, but you're in Dayton, Ohio. And I say that in a condescending way that a large organization that has big plans to have a big return, when they look at the calendar and they eye big cities, sorry, Dayton, just like, hey, I'm in Albany. We're not a big city. We're the capital of New York, but no one cares because people look at New York City as really the capital of New York. So, I mean, I'm really, again, not disrespecting Dayton, but it's not exactly a city that you would have a massive return in or look to if you could choose to do it if you're the company. So I didn't think Roman would return this week. I figured it would be the day before SummerSlam, maybe as early as next week, more likely at SummerSlam itself, the way things are looking now, as the heat continues to build on the Bloodline, the Rogue Bloodline, Solo's version of the Bloodline, Bloodline 2.0. Take your pick of how you want to describe them. The heat is at a boiling point for this group, and it has been done, I think, pretty damn well. I've enjoyed the build to Solo and what he's brought to the table, his viciousness, his hairpin trigger, his ruthlessness, calling out Roman, saying that, if you do return, that you will acknowledge me. And beating down Paul Heyman, which I have to say is unexpected given the age of Paul Heyman and the fact that he didn't have to do that. So, there's just really everything. Now, has it been perfect? No. Some of those guys could use a little bit more development in who and what they are, other than the Wolverine. The werewolf or the Wolverine. I don't know. Of the group with Jacob Fatu, and he certainly does bring an element to the group that is that just overloads them with power and with viciousness, and having that numbers game on their side. Jacob Fatu really put them over the top. I think we're done though adding to any members of the bloodline. I don't think we're going to be adding anyone else anytime soon. I think that's kind of it. And then again, we'll have to figure out who's going to join Roman and the Usos to face them at some point, which you'd imagine that big match is coming at the Survivor Series War Games match. And again, maybe at that point we get the return of The Rock, who I think we're probably aiming into the fall for the return of The Rock. That's my guess. If it happens earlier, I'll be surprised, but I think that's the order in which those returns will happen. Roman first, Rock second, a few months later, and then we're off to the races with Rumble and SummerSlam, and Lord knows what's happening after that. Is it Rock versus Cody? Is it Rock versus Roman finally? We'll have to see. My fantasy of Rock Brock does not seem to be on the table this year. He's too heavily involved in this storyline, which is not a complaint at all. Look, The Rock can come and go as he pleases. This Final Boss character has been brilliant, continues to be in the background brilliant, because you're thinking of all the things that could happen, and there's no need for Rock Brock, but it's just a fantasy of mine that I've been pushing for since they had their first encounter back in 2002 at SummerSlam, no less. But anyway, back to this week. No need to talk about 22 years ago. Let's talk about this week as Cody Rhodes has now suffered the same fate as Randy Orton, getting demolished, being put through a table. Kevin Owens is the surprise. Well, I shouldn't say surprise, is the mystery partner for Cody Rhodes to take on Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, who continue to just surprisingly be together. And the more I look at it and think, do people even really want Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory? It's been talked about so much that they're splitting up, and even on air they've teased it with miscalculations, and they lost their tag titles, and here we go. But do the fans even care or want this? I don't know. I don't know if they do. I feel like fans feel a little bit neutral towards that. Maybe they can strike lightning in a bottle or catch lightning in a bottle with that program, with maybe Austin Theory turning babyface, keeping Grayson Waller a heel, which I think is the way to go if you do it. But they're still together, and I don't think that's a bad thing, because you need another heel team that is not named the Bloodline. You need a different flavor of a heel group. And sure, you have other tag teams out there, but not ones that really spark too much interest when it comes to heel factions. I mean, they're kind of it. They have the Final Testament out there, but the Final Testament are here, there, never there, back. They don't get a ton of on-air mic time, promo time. So there does need to be an existence of other teams and factions that are heels not named the Bloodline. So my point in saying all that is, do we really need to split these two up yet? I don't think there's a long-term game for them to stay together, but in the short term, I think they serve a purpose of being that team that can help other babyface teams get over and get to that next level. At the same time, they need to elevate themselves. I mean, they continue to put on really good matches. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, I mean, especially Austin Theory, are just really good. I mean, they gel very well together. A-Town Down Under, it gels nicely. Is it the best combination of all time? No. But I think it gels well. And I don't think there's a need in the immediate future to break them up, despite all the chatter about it. So this match, by the way, with Cody and Kevin was fun. You knew that Kevin Owens was going to give it his all, as he always does. We got a nice update, too, from, I think, was it Corey Graves? It might have been, who said that, that Kevin Owens' mom seems to be doing better, that she's out of the hospital and is doing better. Again, I don't know specifically what was wrong with her. Maybe you guys do, but that's good news. That's good news. On a human level, these are still men and women that have families, and that's always nice to hear that, that his mom is doing better. So good news. And now we have, again, this matchup that was really good. And there's almost with every match that I talk about, I don't go into great detail about it because you get performers that are just so good. It's not really worth going into move by move outside of just my general thoughts, the finish, maybe some important spots that happen in there. But there's so much good wrestling and good to great wrestlers right now that I don't think there's a need to just continue to say the same thing over and over. But I will say it was the right strategy to have Cody Rhodes get that hot tag. He's the champion. You figure he's going to get the hot tag because he's the guy who's facing Solo. Kevin Owens as of this moment does not have an actual match at SummerSlam, kind of like Seth Rollins floating out in the wind. Now next week, does Kevin Owens end up meeting the same fate as Randy did and as this past week Cody did? I think that's logical. If you take out each guy one by one every week, it makes sense. But then what do you do the night before the event? I mean, I don't know, because what are Randy and Kevin doing at SummerSlam? The answer right now is absolutely nothing as of this recording. So I'm not complaining. It's more just an observation that I think in the Triple H era, we need to get used to the fact that we're not going to have every person have every match all the time on every PLE and just crunch in a bunch of matches just for the sake of getting more people on the PLE. Triple H's approach to PLEs has very much been, in the last year to 2 years, a fewer match, less stories told, more thoroughly. And I like that. I mean, he said, 5-6 matches per card? Even the WrestleMania nights, given they're split into two, are 5 matches, I think. 6 at the most. So it's palatable. Sure, the matches are longer. Sometimes there are slow points in the match. That's fine with me. That fits my taste perfectly. So I think just because Randy, just because Kevin, just because Seth, as of this recording, things could change, of course, in the next 2 weeks very quickly, and they might. But if they don't have matches on the card, I'm not going to lose my mind. It's a big event, so you'd imagine big names are there, so they probably will find a way to factor those 3 men in. But we will see. Now, the bloodline continues to also don the red. I don't know, the hula. I don't know whatever you call it. I actually don't know what you call that. Whatever you that red necklace that you put on where Roman was putting on, or Paul Heyman was putting on Roman, and now we have Tama Tonga or Tongaloa, whoever it is, putting on that red tribal necklace. I'm butchering probably whatever it's called. It's probably sacrilegious for me not to know what that name of that thing is. I could easily Google it or something, but I don't know what the name of it is. But you guys know it in your mind what I'm talking about. But he's mocking Roman Reigns by doing that. That has been his thing lately, is to do that, mocking Roman Reigns and calling himself the tribal chief. And Jacob Fatu screaming at Kevin Owens that, you disrespected my tribal chief, and, dismantling Kevin Owens in the corner. It's all just a lot of fun. It is. And I have I've been really enjoying it. And Roman is a very close. Very. As soon as next week, as late as SummerSlam. We're now a matter of 2 to 3 weeks away. 1 to 3 weeks. How about that? All right. So, a quick touch on Raw. I'm going to bounce around tonight, guys. The Priest and Gunther promo, I went into detail on this on my Monday Night Raw review. I mean, 6 days removed from it, I still believe it was a promo that did exactly what it needed to do, what it set out to do, what its purpose was to take a match that most fans, including myself, looked at this match and said, meh, heel, who cares? And we went from that to, I'm interested now. You have me. I'm biting. I'm nibbling on the hook here. I'm about to half swallow your bait. And it was good. I mean, the context of it was good. There were some awkward moments, some awkward pauses where you could tell they kind of lost themselves a little bit, but so what? Most people will remember the line about street trash. That was a really good line. I think it was a line that felt like it was something that WWE crossed. That he also said that not only is Priest street trash, but he chose to be street trash, implying those that are on the street that they're choosing to be there. I really enjoyed this. Gunther is getting... Gunther, whether it's intentional or not, is getting a deeper personality beyond just the war general look and Mr. Respect the Ring. I want opponents. I mean, he's digging a little more personally into his opponents than he has in the past. In the past, it's been strictly business. Give me the best opponent. It's about competition. And now he's digging into the personal weaknesses of their opponents, or perceived weaknesses of his opponents. And I think that's a nice element to bring to his character, that it's not always just about business all the time. And you heard the crowd respond in kind. And I love it. I think this is a great move forward for Gunther's character, to show that he does understand what's happening with that person, and that he is aware of their lives, and that his character is more than just business. And he'll mess with your head too. And I like it. And we all, of course, know his accomplishments in the ring. We know his style in the ring. He literally is what he says he is, a ring general. He is what he says he is. I don't think that's really, at this point, just a tagline anymore. I think at this point, it's real. Do I think he's a ring general in the sense that Triple H was at the end of his career, where people are dawned with the ring general name, where talent actually will refer to a specific other talent that's been there a while as a ring general? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the backstage dynamic, but I think at this point, he looks and feels like it. And on Priest's side, man, I continue to just sing this guy's praises. I know a lot of you are pointing to his faults in the ring, his mix-ups, his mishaps. The guy is, outside of, him nearly breaking his own leg 2 pay-per-views ago, and then botched finish to Money in the Bank. I mean, you take those 2 away, and you look at this guy and you're like, this is starting to actually feel, this guy is starting to feel like our actual champion. He's not the guy that just cashed in opportunistically, is holding the championship that he's going to drop in a few weeks or whatever. He's held it now. And like I've said, we are at the point where you, believe it or not, have to give Priest a significant chance to retain against Gunther. Is there going to be interference from Seth Rollins? Maybe. Does Seth Rollins turn heel? Maybe. Is Seth Rollins the special guest referee? Maybe. But I also have an issue with Seth being a special guest referee when is that exactly the best use of his skills at a big PLE? No, I don't think it is. Well, I think we will get our answer tomorrow night or tonight, of course, depending on when you're listening to this, on Monday Night Raw. So, all right, bouncing back to SmackDown now, talking about the Logan Paul LA Knight confrontation. You talk about another guy, a little bit different of a path and a different situation, but there are some similarities in Priest and Paul here. Because Logan Paul is a guy that comes from social media, yet he is an accomplished boxer. He is a badass athlete, young, can talk, has picked up the WWE style faster than anyone I've ever seen, including Kurt Angle. I think he's neck and neck with Kurt Angle. I know everybody uses that as the measuring stick for how quickly someone picks up wrestling. And sure, you could use Ronda Rousey as well. But I think Kurt Angle and Logan Paul are right up there with one another. That's a debate that you could have, right? That's a fun little conversation that you could have with your friends, or if I had someone on the show, I'd ask that question. But Logan Paul and LA Knight are in a program now that I am starting to really enjoy and does have some longevity to it, because LA Knight reminded us, hey, remember how I came out here a year ago and told you where you could stick all these bottles of Prime? I gave you a map. And then LA Knight proceeds to get a little bit torched by Logan Paul, calling him a Rock wannabe, compared him to some references that I guess I'm too old to know now, some SpongeBob stuff. But it was a nice back and forth battle. And LA Knight held his own against a much younger Logan Paul that, sure, he's the only thing about Logan Paul he has against him is his age. If you're looking for anything to knock him for, he's too young to hold the championship, or he's too young to fully understand the business. If someone didn't tell you his age, I think a lot of that preconceived idea of he's not able to hang here or doesn't understand the business would not even be brought into the conversation. This guy has just come into the WWE, felt a little uncomfortable at first. They tried to make him a babyface. Remember that? Do you guys remember that? A couple of years ago? 3 years ago? At WrestleMania? Kevin Owens ended up stunning him at WrestleMania. I was concerned that they were just going to make mockery of the company, which they've done a lot of times in the past with celebrity guests. Kevin Owens stuns Logan Paul. And then he ends up just slowly dipping his toe into WWE. And do I think he'll ever be a full-time guy doing the house shows? I would say no. But, of course, you never say never in wrestling. We all know that. It's the golden rule. But I would lean no. And the reason is Logan Paul doesn't need to be doing that. He doesn't need to do it. Look at all the success he's achieved without doing all of that stuff. Going on the road in every single town, making the live events. You don't need to do those to be successful. And WWE is also in a very good place right now, from viewership to financials to social media engagement with their fans. Stock prices are very good right now. So they are a hot product. There's really no reason to say, oh man, we should probably put Logan Paul in it. No, you got a formula that works. And LA Knight has a strong chance of beating Logan Paul. But I wouldn't say it's a lock. This is also a very difficult match. Very difficult. And, as I look at this SummerSlam card, in my mind, just the first 3 matches that I talked about. Solo and Cody. While most people believe Cody's going to win, and he probably will, there is a strong case to be made for Solo Sikoa to win that belt. And the reason is you have a returning Roman Reigns right around the corner. He's going to come in and look at Solo, who has now not only made himself the self-appointed tribal chief, created and brought in guys that he didn't ask for or want, attacked his wise man, and took his championship. Wouldn't that maybe be a bigger story than if he doesn't have the belt? Maybe. I'm all for just personal issue. Title doesn't always need to be involved, but it's something to at least consider. I think Cody is a heavy favorite, but not overwhelming. So Solo winning here at SummerSlam may not be the craziest idea in the world. Sure, it's a little bit short of a reign for Cody, and I still don't think they'll do it, but there's at least a conversation that should be had. That's all. And when you go to LA Knight, as I said, and Logan Paul, not an easy match to pick. Not easy. Logan Paul is rolling with it. Despite the fact that he's almost never there, he continues to find ways to be a part of the show. And when he's there via satellite or via Instagram or whatever, via X, he still finds ways to make impacts. Whether even the wrestlers talking about him keeps his name alive for that week, even if Logan Paul's not there physically that week, that's another good strategy, and it's worked. So I think you have also another situation here with Priest and with Gunther. As I said, yes, Gunther is favorited, but are you really going to bank on that, given the history with Priest the last 3 months? Looking at what they've done with Priest, I wouldn't touch it. These 3 title matches are not slam dunks, and not slam dunks for the first time since pre-Mania. I mean, it's fun when you don't have a super strong feeling on who's going to come out on top, because WWE has done a really nice job of getting you off the track, off the trail. And I don't know if that's intentional or it's not, but the fact remains is you just don't know. And I do often have and continue to have, like, usually at least a few matches on a card that you can just lock it up, throw away the key, you know who's going to win. Be careful on this one, guys. I know some of you do bet, and you bet a significant amount of money. I'd be very careful of this card. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. But LA Knight and Logan Paul, good stuff. They did brawl at the end of that segment, and no one really got the upper hand. He went for a BFT. Logan Paul slid out. Nice little tease there. That was fun. It was fun. So, all right. So what else happened here on SmackDown? We got Tiffany Stratton versus Michin. And this is a match, I have to say I enjoyed more than I thought I would. While Michin has almost no personality, at least that they've shown us, I'm not saying in real life, that just what we've seen on camera has been very limited. And Tiffany Stratton, they did an especially nice job with in that promo video that they did for her. That, I think, elevated her character a little bit more, not crazy, but enough to make you see who and what Tiffany Stratton is, what they're trying to convey with her. Strength, a bit of a sexuality to her, but also really good in the ring. She's got confidence. I mean, she does check all the boxes, and it does look like it's being set up for a potential Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton match. I think Charlotte Flair is also very, very, very close to returning. I have had no reports and seen no reports of any setbacks with Charlotte Flair. It makes sense that she returns. Now, do you want Charlotte Flair, though, as a heel or a babyface? Because we've seen what babyface Charlotte Flair looks like, and it's never as fun or as comfortable as a heel Charlotte Flair, who was born to be a heel, and even she has admit that, right? So I don't know. We'll have to see. But this Meechin and Tiffany Stratton match was simply to help put over Tiffany, as it should be. I mean, Meechin doesn't have much going on. They haven't done much with her character, and that's being generous. Tiffany Stratton has gotten the support of fans since day one in WWE, at least on the main roster. Tiffy time is over. It is. It really, I think, has gotten to a point where it's catchy. It's catchy, and she has something there. But she needs to expand upon it. Continue to build her fan base. Even though you're a heel, you can still get fans to notice who the hell you are. And Tiffany Stratton and this video package, I think, this week did a nice job of that. Also showing a little bit of Tiffany Stratton in gymnastics. Things that she did outside of WWE is also very important. All right. So what else? What else happened here? We had, let's see, Sheamus and Bronson Reed on Raw. I did talk about that a little bit. Sheamus got some new music, which is really what most people are talking about. Sami Zayn versus Dragunov for the Intercontinental title, which led to another Braun Breaker spear and another Braun Breaker interruption. This is going to send Adam Pearce into a seizure at this point. I'm still waiting for him to spear Adam Pearce. I thought he was going to do it at one point. I'm waiting for that spear on Pearce. I think more importantly, on Raw, what else happened? There was a big segment I'm missing. Oh, the Rhea Ripley stuff. Yeah, so Rhea Ripley and Dom, that story is also, look at me all positive today. What the hell's wrong with me? I got to come up with something to complain about. You guys, I can't have the whole show be all gushy, gooey, good stuff. I'll find something to complain about, so just sit tight. Stay tuned, as they say. But Rhea Ripley and Dominic and Rhea, and Liv Morgan are, I think, telling one of the best stories in WWE today. Not ever, just today. In the current product. Rhea is pushing off the advances and apologies of Dom, dismissing him. The idea also is that Dom did not text Rhea at all during the 3 months she was injured. So that doesn't help Dom's case. Rhea, continues to still pursue Dom. Dom is, I think, still headed for a ass kicking by Rhea. And I think that Liv Morgan is not going to drop the belt to Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Yes, she's overpowered, significantly overpowered. But the story doesn't warrant Rhea to win yet. There's still too much to tell with Liv as champion. And with Dom likely turning on Rhea at SummerSlam. That's my pick if SummerSlam were tomorrow. Of course, it's not, and things could change. So take what I say with my predictions with a grain of salt, because, again, on Raw tomorrow night, you can have everything get blown up, and I sound like a fool because what is he talking? It doesn't make sense. Well, I don't, I can't look into the future. I don't have my flux capacitor working on the DeLorean, so I unfortunately I can't look into the future. So, but mommy chance, Rhea Ripley, mega over. She should not be booked as a heel. If they're ever trying to consider have her being booked as a heel at this point, I wouldn't do it. She was a heel for a significant amount of time. The fans gravitated to her. She found herself. She's come back. She's got the support of fans. There's no need to try to mess with fans to have her double down or whatever. Just keep it alone. Let her just do her thing. And yes, again, do I think that they will do a Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio match? Sadly, probably. They can't help themselves. I think it's probably coming, or at least Rhea Ripley's going to just demolish Dom, and Dom's going to say, oh, man, wait a minute. Am I allowed to retaliate? Oh, she's a woman. I can't. And that's kind of where it ends. All right. So, again, a lot of throwbacks to Eddie Guerrero and China here. I think that's what they were actually going for, too, by the way. Especially with the attire that Rhea Ripley wears. A lot of it is paying homage to Joni Lore, i.e. China. And which is cool. It's really cool. All right. Sonya Deville is back, but no one noticed. And she's messing around with Zelina Vega, which no one cares. And I mean, I'm saying that because when WWE puts a women's match out there that's 1 minute long, their message is, we don't care. It's a box we checked. Oh, see, the women had a match. We had 2 matches. We had 3. We had 4 matches on Raw. Here's my question. What are the minutes? What are the TV minutes of those matches? This is the stuff. This is the stuff I'm talking about, guys. Those of you that are advocating for a women's IC belt, US belt, you really want this? You really want to add titles into this? No, the title match, the titles themselves shouldn't be introduced until there's a platform that can handle and respect those championships. We are not there yet. Adding titles to a women's division that WWE already doesn't, by a lot of people's accounts, put enough time into is not going to help anyone. All right. So, what else happened that's significant anyway? The promo, as we said, with Priest and Gunther, that was really good. We did get Damian Priest and Braun Strowman in a non-title match. That ended with Priest hilariously hitting a South of Heaven on Braun Strowman. LOL. I know why they did it. We all know why Priest got the victory, because he's the one with the championship match at SummerSlam, and Braun Strowman is not. So, all right. Little tease of Xavier Woods being helped by Alpha Academy, and we got some Wyatt Six interference trying to attack Chad Gable after they, meaning Chad and the Creed brothers, beat down Bo Dallas. That leads to the Wyatt Six coming out. Nothing actually happens. There's just a bunch of maniacal laughing by Bo Dallas. All right. Let's see. Oh, McIntyre. That's the last thing I'll say on Raw. McIntyre refusing to apologize to the referees. You know, McIntyre, to me, you could give him an award for Most Improved Superstar of the Year already. He has found what the word evolved means, and he has applied it, and applied it brilliantly. What he has done with his character over the last 12 months has been nothing short of miraculous. Coming off of, oh, look at my sword, Angela, look, oh, it's a tribute to my mommy, and I'm mocking because I'm a jerk, but I hated the sword. I'm sorry, I hated the sword. I don't hate Drew. I think he's a genuinely good guy. The sword, though, while it's nice and it's symbolic and it does have actual meaning to him, and it is unique in that not a lot of people bring swords, you knew that he would never, ever be able to use it on anybody. Or if he did, it would be an obvious swing and a miss. So I wasn't a big fan of it. But he then turned into this guy that is the kind of falling into opportunistic victories, where he just sees no wrong in himself, and he's always the victim. It's just such a damn fun character. And what he's got going with Punk right now is gold. He refused this week to apologize to the referees and instead shoved them down and then pushed security aside and left, which means Adam Pearce has told him he's still suspended, which I think makes sense to me. You're not going to have Punk and Drew likely brawl before the event. They could, but do you want that a little bit more controlled? Because otherwise every week they'd be just beating the hell out of each other, and it'd be kind of just a little bit on repeat. So McIntyre is still suspended as of this moment, but that will change. As we all know, Punk and Drew is going to be a match at SummerSlam. So, all right. Let's talk a little bit more about SmackDown and wrap it up. Here's a complaint. There we go. This ought to get some of you riled up. All right. This is a little bit in the spirit of moving women's wrestling forward. And Jade Cargill and, yes, Rhea Ripley at times was the focal point of my complaints with the women's attire. And am I going to sit here policing, taking notes, complaining to the FCC? No. I don't care on that level. I care about women's wrestling continuing to be women's wrestling, not bra and panties matches. And when you look at what Jade Cargill specifically wore this week, I'm a big Jade Cargill. I shouldn't say I'm a big Cargill fan because I've been complaining about her for forever. But I think she's been more improved than people give her credit for. I will say that. But what she wore this week on SmackDown was nothing short of just lingerie. I'm serious when I say this. What Jade Cargill was wearing this week is akin to having an escort put up an ad on a website. I mean, it looks like a picture with, at least from the outfit perspective, of what you would wear to put up an ad for an escort. I'm serious. And I know Jade Cargill has an insane physique, and good for her. That takes tons and tons of work and dedication. Could I do that? Hell no. Good for her. And I genuinely mean that. I'm not being a facetious jerk. But I also recognize what, in part, held the women back in the 90s and early mid-2000s. Part, not all, by a long shot, but in part, it was the male audience that continues to primarily be a male audience that ate that stuff up. The Sable stuff, right? Terry Runnels and Sunny, right? And the list goes on. And when you have the women who 20 years later, who are starting to show signs of going back to some of the attire that was worn back then, well, some red flags just go up for me. I'm not sitting here trying to be a male feminist. Women empowerment. I don't care about any of that. To me, everyone's equal, right? Everyone should be treated equally. I'm not about who should be treated better, men or women. Everybody should be treated the same. Okay, so I don't want to get into that crap. But I also recognize when I see it, I go, hey, I'm, as a guy, lived through the Attitude Era, lived through the Ruthless Aggression Era, understood and do understand still what WWE was trying to present with their women's division, which is a whole lot of sex. That's what they were presenting, with a little bit of wrestling sprinkled in for a long time. That was the flavor of women's wrestling. And it was considered generally a joke. Generally. There were exceptions. Trish Lita, right? Chyna was an exception. Victoria was an exception. Her program with Mickie James with Trish Stratus, but same with Victoria. They were all exceptions. But generally, the women's division in WWE's history has been viewed as kind of a sexual thing. And again, when I see this, it's just it reminds me of that a little bit. I know that she's trying to show off her physique. I'm talking about Jade now. She's proud of it, and she should be. But that doesn't mean you need to be so... You lack the self-awareness or the, I guess, just don't care. There's also that. Of understanding that, like, hey, I don't want men to sexualize me. I don't want my core audience to adhere to their biological wiring of thinking, wow, pretty woman. that does things to me. Now I'm not thinking about her match. I'm thinking about other things. And to those of you in the crowd or the audience listening here, you can deny that all you want or pretend I'm misogynistic or you're the one with the sex problem. No. It's called biology, my friends. And if a straight man says to you that when they look at Jade Cargill, they only see boss woman, girl boss, nonsense. It's not true. Okay? So you know exactly what the problem is there. My whole point about saying all this, beyond just getting a complaint segment in so I can piss off some of the people that listen to the show, is, and I'm being serious about all this, I'm not making any of it up. I genuinely feel this way. But I also want to advocate for the women to continue on their path in WWE. I want them to, and I see these things just like we saw with the outfits on not just Rhea Ripley, not just Jade Cargill, who, if she could be naked every week, she would. But just Chelsea Green too, who took exception with fans telling her that, I think there was some tweet a while back about her getting angry with fans about what they were trying to tell other women to wear and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of were, her mentality lies and maybe her leanings are. But I just want to see women's wrestling continue down a road that doesn't sexualize them. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. That's the entire reason that I don't want skimpy outfits. Now, sure, they can wear athletic wear. I'm not saying for them to wear potato sacks or, sweats in a sweatshirt. No. Like it's, you're watching the 1:00 NFL game. No, I'm not asking for that. But there is a distinction between athletic wear and just being skimpy to show off your body. There just is. And I don't want to hear, well, the men, look at what the men wear. Yeah, except here's the difference. You're generally dealing with a population for your core audience that are men that are straight. That's from 18 to 40. That's still the key demographic. And doesn't exactly interest the core audience with men in tights for most of us. Most. All right. I got my complaint segment in. I think I'll end it there so you guys end on a high note. But I do appreciate it. I mean, I know I try to push some buttons here, but I'm being genuine about that. I really want the women's division to progress. We all know that what we saw in the 90s and early 2000s was, if you're looking for women's wrestling, was not exactly textbook. But I'll leave it there. All right, well, that'll do it for me, guys. I appreciate your time for taking the time to listen to me, and I will be back tomorrow with a little bit of a rehash. Tuesday will be the Raw review, and then Wednesday is the NXT review. And then, of course, we have other shows coming on later in the week, nearly every day. As I said, we do publish shows nearly every day. So, all right, thanks, everybody, for listening. Take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.